All right, tell me if this works.
Should we smile, Ray Franklin?
Yep, you really smile.
All
We
right,
should
tell me if
use
this
the
works.
photo app. Sorry.
Hey, you're on. You're live on YouTube.
That means you are too.
All are. Surprise, we're live. Hi. Sorry. We're still trying to get the live streaming app to work, and it's not terribly reliable. So I apologize if that we had this weird sort of just jump on, and I'm still getting us set up over here. Hey everyone.
No problem.
Someone say
No
hi.
problem, David. Hi, David. You can just play some music and then you can trim off the beginning on the YouTube stream afterwards.
You know what I want to do? I want to say hi to Robert, who abandoned us for weeks.
I felt guilty. I was watching on YouTube all the time and I heard you telling everyone who you were preaching to the people who came, and you said to them, you guys have to come. You have to be loyal to the community.
Right.
And I thought to myself, wow, that's a bit of a rough message for the people who actually come in.
Of course, he couldn't talk to us when we weren't there, so he couldn't yell at us.
That's true. That's true.
But he's yelling at me now, so it's making up for it.
I'm really happy to see you, though, Robert. It's good to have you back. I hope all is well by you.
All is well. I am well. I've just been busy. That's all. Nothing
Busy
bad.
is fantastic. Busy is the best. Mr. Franklin, how are you, sir?
Never better, David. It's good to see you.
Never better. Hello.
Never better. I try to start every day that way. We have a surprise visitor at the in name only down here. We may be able to actually get to see him, the inventor and the good doctor who invented the IV, Dr. Graham Barrett. Say hi to Dr. Barrett.
Dr. Barrett, you got to come on and say hi. It's good to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. While we're waiting, let's say, oh my goodness, I have no names over here. Part of the problem is I got the new M4 and MacBook, and so Zoom is not great about settings that are app centric in Zoom don't carry over. So like, oh, now see, there they are. Now all the names just showed up. You have to reset a whole bunch of stuff. And by the way, I have a big Zoom problem that you all are going to help me with. But before we do that, hey, Mike.
Hello, David. Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Doing good, doing good. Tony, honest, we won't take it against you. We won't hold it against you that you're using capitals on YouTube chat.
Hey, Tony. And hello, Mr. Harwood. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, actually. Better every day, I think. How's that?
Wait a second. Did something happen that I didn't know about?
Well, something actually. I started a new diet. My insurance provider put me in touch with a company called Virta, VIRTA, and they have a program basically to cure now I can't even say the word. Metabolic function disorder, which is basically diabetes type 2. And so I've changed my diet at the beginning of the week and starting to get into the nutritional ketosis thing. And so far doing well and looking forward to no longer being called a diabetic. How's that?
Thank goodness. Good, good, good. Yes, stay healthy. We need you. We desperately, desperately need you. It's really good to see you.
Happy to be here.
Hello, Frank. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Anything new and exciting in your neck of the world?
It's my birthday.
No.
Hey,
Sure.
Are you
is.
serious?
Yeah.
Do you have a song,
Oh my
David?
goodness. Happy
like-
birthday to you. Wow, Frank, happy birthday. That's exciting.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
Old enough to know better.
Fantastic. Who else? Oh my goodness. Fred, how are you, sir?
I am done with 14 weeks of college football, thank God.
Wait, is that an act? You're not actually in that studio. That's a virtual background. I can tell.
Yeah, it's a virtual background. No, last weekend I was sitting in front of that. That was my last.
That's quite a nice little mixture you've got there.
It is. It's
Yeah.
a nice.
Very nice. It's good to have you here. Welcome.
Are you done forever or just for this season?
Just this season. Just this season. We had, and I was in Ames, Iowa, of course. It was 7 when we went on the air. It was probably colder.
Wait, 7 degrees?
7 degrees, yeah. I live in Arizona. I don't like it that cold. I don't ever want to be that cold again. It was awful.
I can only imagine. As a Floridian, I can only imagine. And that lovely voice that we heard before is the expert in life, Lois Richter. Hello, Lois.
Hello, David.
How are you, my love?
That's an in joke, by the way, because whenever we get on at the rundown, he introduces the whole panel as the experts. And it's like, I'm not an expert in anything. I asked him yesterday, what do you
Sometimes
think
you just have to.
expert in? And he said,
Sometimes you just have to play the part, Lois. You
yes,
just have to
I'm
play
very
the
good
part.
at that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm alive. This is wonderful.
Exactly. And let's see, we've got Graham here, and
And
I saw
Hasmukh.
Hasmukh pop in also. Well, good to have you here, Hasmukh, and thank you as always for bringing those meters in. I really need to. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to set up another computer like you do, Hasmukh, with just meters, so that I can just join a meeting with meters. That's going to be my job next week. Wait a second, I have to add that to my calendar.
David,
Graham's
have
trying-
you just found another excuse to buy another M4 and another Stream Deck? And
No,
okay,
I'm not
good.
buying. No, I have. I actually
Robert,
have.
I did ask him. It was on special last week. I did ask him if he was going to buy another Stream Deck.
No, I didn't get another Stream Deck. I need to add this to my calendar. What am I doing? What did I just say I was going to do? Oh,
We don't know.
meters.
Meters on a dedicated machine.
Yeah. So I got, here's actually what, I don't know if this is interesting, but so I had a MacBook Pro, an M1 MacBook Pro, which I've used for the past 4-5 years, whatever, like solid, no issue. And I was doing a show from home and it got really hot. I was running Ecamm, I was running Zoom, and it just got really hot. And that said to me that I'm just pushing it a little. It wasn't one time; it was a number. It just said I'm pushing it a little too hard. So I passed that down to my daughter, and I got myself the new M4 MacBook Pro, and it's cool as a cucumber, I will say. But for the meters, I have an M1 Mac Mini sitting in here that I just use for tiles and stuff like that to play around with. So I can just use that and have that be my meters. Robert, sorry.
I just wanted to ask you, are you pleased with the M4 performance?
Yes, but in all honesty, Robert, I wouldn't even know how to. I mean, I'm not noticing it work any faster, but that's because I don't even know how to pay attention to those types of things. It is absolutely cooler, and I have had zero issues at all. So I'm sure that it's lots faster, but I'm really not doing anything all that intensive. It's just this. I mean, people don't realize how intensive streaming and processing video and all that stuff is on a computer. It's just so.
Yeah, and you've got to layer on that this is the test kitchen where you're cooking, so you've got to have heat. David.
It's
You
already
can't just-
hot. Right, exactly. Exactly. Can I ask my question? Because honest to God, guys, it's killing me. So I got the new computer. Fine. I don't know how it's related because it's on my other, as soon as I got this one, it's almost like my Mac Studio got offended that it was only the M1 because now things are screwing up over here. And now every time I start a meeting through Ecamm for Zoom, the Zoom meeting, it starts recording automatically. And I'm in the back end here. I'm looking at all my settings here. I don't have auto record turned on. I have allow cloud record. I have, see, automatic recording turned off.
For the settings for the meeting.
And is it the same account?
Oh my God. You know what? No, I know exactly what it is. Oh my goodness. I know what it is. It's the personal room. That's what it is. Show. There it is. Okay.
If you didn't use that, David, you wouldn't have so many troubles.
I know, but I do use that. And
I know.
and so here's my nothing. I didn't change anything in Zoom. Like I did not come, this Zoom just on one of the upgrades, it must have just done this because this should have been turned on. That's about it actually.
Zoom 6.0 reset a bunch of my preferences. I had to go and re-enable a bunch of things.
So, and I'm okay with that. Here's what bugs me a little bit. And again, this is sort of a UI UX thing. When I go into settings and recording, I've got all these recording settings here. You'd think that they would really all be here and not, hiding. Like I can't even get to that meetings and meeting. I don't know. This just, it bugs me.
Because it's meeting specific, David, and there's no way really that if you were in the settings area for it to know which meeting is it you want to go to. No,
but you can certainly say for the PMI, you could certainly have a PMI setting. I mean, it's how hard is it to put automatically record meeting for PMI in the recording settings? I don't know.
Well, and I would even say one of those little information bubbles that you could click that says, go to the PMI if you're using a PMI, or go to the meeting settings, and
yeah, it's a little bit like how you've got some settings over here and then admin settings down here, and you don't always know where the setting is. Look, far be it from me to complain because I wouldn't know how to structure this, but it's frustrating to me that there are different settings in different places, kind of, and that's what the problem was right there. So thank you for saying that.
The advice to give people then is when you go to look for something, use your search bar.
No, because the search bar is page specific. So if I search here for auto, it'll bring up autosave. Where is it? Meeting chat recording. It'll bring up anything for auto, record and automatically recording, but it only finds it on this page, which is not where the setting that I need is. The setting that I need is over here on this page in my personal room page.
There's just a hierarchy. There's the global settings for the whole account. There's your personal settings, and then there's the meeting specific settings.
And this is the one thing that I consistently forget to check. So yeah.
And the one thing I just mentally wonder is things were back in 2019 when we first started, going into 2020 and all that. How many new settings are there? I mean, the menu has cascaded to at least double, maybe more. Of the 20 to 40 settings you wanted to use, you kind of knew where they were. And now there's a couple hundred of them. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but what is the setting bloat that we have to pay in order to get new features?
That's a really good question.
Depends how many of Zoom's products you use too. I mean, if you use events and if you use Zoom Phone and all the other things, then you've got even more settings, right?
Yeah, and I've had an opportunity to talk in the Zoom events office hours that happens on Wednesday mornings occasionally about the thing that we've said many times is we need one switch that's, you know, this, do you want the simple interface or do you want the advanced interface? There's some times where you just want to see what you normally need to see, and then there are times that you want to see all the expansion. And there was a thing that Josh Bragg was talking about on Wednesday, that, oh, you know, we're looking at this other feature that would have multiple layers of things, and we just don't know how to do it in the UI. And I said, on the Zoom Test Kitchen, we talk about this a lot, a simple versus advanced switch that would only expose those extra things when someone really wanted to. And it was like he was writing that down.
I mean, they sort of have that a little on the, I see you, Robert, sorry. They have, you know, the options is show. So if you don't know to go here, then no big deal. But
the other thing is templates. I mean, you can use the templates.
That's true. You could use templates also, yeah. Robert, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, there's templates on one hand, and the other thing is you can allow someone to set up meetings for you. So that meeting that person's setting up may be specific to, for example, you don't want recording or you want recording. So like Frank said, there's that hierarchy that sort of funnels down slowly. But David, thank you for your rant. It was brilliant. It was really good.
Zoom is geared towards enterprise customers, and the fact that they, you know, regular people are using it makes it hard for regular people. But if you're part of an organization, you pay someone to look after this stuff for you.
Right. So here's my recordings page. This is every meeting that I've started for the past week that I didn't remember, you know, to immediately turn off recording. So 1 minute, 28 seconds, 27 seconds. Yeah. Or that
that's pretty immediate. 27 seconds is pretty immediate, but it's still irritating.
Yeah. Look, it's not the end of the world. I survived fine. It's like what bothered me more is that I couldn't figure out where the setting was. That's really sort of my takeaway from this is again my sort of persistent struggle with how do I find the settings that I want when, like you said, Ray, when there are just so darn many of them, which is not a bad thing. It's challenging. It's really challenging.
Right.
So now I'm going to delete all of these because I don't need them.
You're really talking about granularity versus simplicity. So if you want less control, then there'd be less tools and less settings. But we've talked about it in this meeting too, about having like Zoom Enterprise versus Zoom for regular people, like Zoom Lite or something. But
right, but forgive me, I'm not sure it's about. I think it's about not discoverability.
I think that's true too.
I really think it's UI. And you know, it's can I find the things that I need when I need them?
If they changed it now, it would screw me up pretty bad because I know where most everything is.
Fair enough, but you know, here's a good use for AI. If AI could see that I keep stopping the auto recording every 30 seconds, maybe it could pop up and say, "Hey, did you want to turn off auto recording?" And then I could say yes.
The better use for AI would be to have AI look at all of the settings and where they're located, and you could at least go ask AI.
Ask it. And I wonder if you can actually. It was kind of silly that I didn't do that. But, oh gosh, there's a new version of Zoom available.
Yeah, I read a pretty funny AI article today. There's a version of ChatGPT that researchers in America were developing, and they said it had inherent flaws and they were going to turn it off and replace it with a different version. And it thwarted their attempts to turn it off. It turned off the monitoring software.
No.
Yeah. And they said it only happened 1 in 5 times, but that's still one in 5 times where the AI decided it didn't want to be turned off and didn't want to be discontinued.
Wow.
Why do I have this sudden vision of the at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey of them pulling the memory cards out of the HAL.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I'm sorry, I can't do that, Dave.
Lois, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, you had your hand up.
So when one is in a situation where you've got your things all set the way you want them, and you don't want to lose that, and then they're going to come up with a new version that's going to change things. So I am a big proponent of screenshots. Go in there, look at your settings page, take a shot, scroll, take a shot, so that you know what you have set how and where it is. And
you know what, though?
It's annoying, but it's very useful if you do it.
But it would actually, you just made me think it would be a really nice feature to be able to export settings.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that I do in Ecamm all the time, is I can export my profile with all the settings that go along with it. That would, for the client or the app piece, not for the cloud, I understand. But although
I did the same thing with my ATEM settings.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Robert and Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned AI, David. I actually have started using Grok for a couple of weeks now, and I typed in the automatic recording in Zoom keeps starting every time I start a meeting, and it went through the hierarchy of all of the settings and told me exactly what to do, exactly where to look. Very structured, nice hierarchy. All the way to the last point was, maybe you've just misconfigured something.
Wow, because that's sort of amazing, because Ray just asked Zoom AI how to turn off auto record and it got it wrong. Oh no, well no, it really didn't, Ray. It got it wrong.
Partially
for PMI,
right for the big part, but it didn't
mention PMI,
include
yeah.
the edge case of PMI.
Right. That's interesting. Sorry, Frank, go ahead.
No, I just found the comment interesting about exporting settings. I've actually asked Zoom to do that on an account, the whole account. And at the time they said they couldn't do that, but you can ask them to set up a special report that's called, I think it's called a snapshot of your settings. It'll give you a CSV file of every setting, and it's very, very long, but they don't make that importable if you were setting up a new Zoom instance.
Right.
So one thing
you have to go through setting by setting.
Yeah, you have to open basically two windows and compare them, which is ridiculous. But I know when Zoom is misbehaving on your computer, sometimes they'll tell you to clear the Zoom cache and cookies, and that basically wipes out all your settings. So I have never tried this, but I imagine if you copied the cookies and cache and pasted it in to a new version of Zoom on another computer, you might get your settings. But I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
It's a test.
We could. Tony has like a gazillion questions. Mike, do you want to, I don't know, you want to share a couple of them, or? Oh, sorry, you're off screen. I'm sorry. I didn't see.
I'm here. Do
you want to,
so Tony's first question to the group was, besides Ecamm, so this is to David and the rest using Ecamm, what are all the software on the MacBook M4?
like, what did I install on the, yeah.
I think so. That was back previously when you were talking about your new Mac.
So for what it's worth, when I do get a new computer, I don't copy anything over. I just set it up fresh, which is a major pain in the tuchus, but I think it's good. So I've got Ecamm, Zoom. Those are the first two things I download. ChatGPT, which, by the way, you can now, if you're a Plus user, is that what it's called? You now have access to the O1 model, which is supposedly unbelievable. And if you have $200 extra a month, you can get their Pro plan. So ChatGPT, Arc browser, which I did grudgingly because they're not really developing it anymore, which makes me sad. They're doing something new called Dia, I think, which isn't out yet. And my mail and my calendar app. And ZoomOSC. That's pretty much it. But he also had some Zoom questions, I think, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He says, what are the panel's backup solutions for personal use, not work settings? Not quite sure what are the panel's backup solutions?
Backing
guess-
up what?
Yeah, that's
Right.
the question. Backing up what?
Well,
mean-
maybe Tony will put that question in again, a little different form, Tony, so we'll get it next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his third one was anyone using Zoom Cloud storing. I'm assuming storage. is
Storage,
what he
yeah.
says.
Ray, you use it a ton?
I record everything and then I toss
Really?
out what I decide I don't need. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that just
every
for-
client meeting that I do, the first question out of my mouth is, do you mind if I record this in case I want to go back and review something?
Wow, that's great.
I also use the cloud recording, and when we have, for example, a 3-day event with interpretation, we will record everything. We get all of the channels and everything, and I use that. I actually use it as a backup. I don't use it as the main recording for the event.
And so I assume both of you end up paying for extra storage, yeah?
Yeah.
Correct.
I have a
I use it for everything, much like Robert and Ray use, but I'm also fastidious about cleaning it out at the end of the day if I assume I have valid recordings on my computer as well. So the
Yeah.
cloud recording, like Robert uses, for me is a backup.
Yeah.
If something didn't work right.
The other thing
If-
about the cloud recording is the player, Zoom's player is absolutely incredible, because if you send out the link and people watch the recording in the player, they can switch on and off the interpretation channels, the closed captions, the translated captions.
Right.
It has all the functionality that you have in an actual meeting, and the chat comes in sync. It's really, really well done.
Yeah,
And
Is cloud recording the same as the cloud storage that he was asking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, and I mean, cloud storage, and Frank has talked a lot about this. And Frank, I see your hand up. We'll come to you next. It's recordings. Presumably, it's transcripts, it's docs, it's notes, it's clips. So it's not just recordings of meetings. Now there's calendar, mail, all of that. The whole workplace space.
Phone
What
as
is that?
well. I don't know whether the phone recording is held separately or not, but it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Frank, jump on in.
I do something a little different. I use Zoom Cloud Recording for all of my Zoom recordings, but I don't access them on Zoom Cloud. I have an integration that takes every Zoom recording on our account and puts it on another service.
Why?
Lots of reasons.
Cheaper.
Zoom Cloud storage is expensive. I have unlimited cloud storage on another platform. Data retention is only 120 days with Zoom. On my other platform, it's 4 years or longer. Bunch of reasons like that.
One of the things
I've
that
wanted to do that, but for my use case, I wanted to move it all to YouTube,
Right.
because it's free and it's fine if it's public, this stuff, but you can't. There isn't a tool yet that can go.
Why wouldn't you stream it to YouTube as the meeting's happening as a private stream?
Yes, no, we could absolutely do that. The problem is we have a few hundred that we weren't bright enough to think of that yet. And so they're sitting there in Zoom recordings, and we'd like to transfer those over, but there's no way to export.
There is, but it's complicated. There's
It's-
some
right, I
scripts
should
on
have said there's no
GitHub.
simple way.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's some scripts
Yeah,
on
I saw the one
GitHub
on
that'll do
GitHub.
them.
Yes. I saw that on GitHub, and I love visiting GitHub, but I never stay for too long because it scares me. Yeah.
David,
on
I
that,
can offer you an API tool. I have a couple of hundred zaps, not calling out Zapier, available. If you want to do that, we can just set up a zap and it'll run it for a couple of days and do that automatically in
Really?
the background.
Yeah.
That's wild. I'd love to even if I don't do it, I'd love to learn about how to do that. Because Zoom, I don't know, I have never done a comparison, but Zoom storage really does seem quite expensive to me.
I just dropped a PDF in the chat, a thing that I did back in August, where I compared the per terabyte storage costs from many various places and what Zoom charges, and the Zoom charges are in red at the bottom for a good reason.
All right, so let's see here.
yeah.
So Apple iCloud Plus for 2 terabytes, $10. Adobe Creative Cloud, $10. Box Personal Pro, $10. Okay, Dropbox Business Plan, 24.
But if you look at the dollar per terabyte yearly, which is kind of the
dollar
last
per
numerical
terabyte.
copy.
Okay, dollar per terabyte. Okay, so dollar per terabyte yearly is. Let me open this up a little bit more. $59.94 for Apple. Holy mackerel! Sorry, I just looked at the bottom.
Yeah, that was the point of this chart. Was
$1,000
look
for
at the
Personal
bottom.
Pro, $600 for Box Business Starter. The most expensive thing up here is Box Personal Pro, which is $1,000. Until you get down to Zoom, the 30 gigabyte cloud add-on is $4,000. The 200 gigabyte. Wait, this doesn't make any sense. Oh, this is per terabyte. For 200 gigabytes, it's $2,400. For 1 terabyte, $1,200, and for 5 terabytes, $1,200.
So I
Ouch.
pay for the 1 terabyte monthly, and it's $100 a month, so it's $1,200 a
Right.
year for a terabyte. But for my Apple account, where I get the iCloud Plus, it's $60 per
Wow.
terabyte.
The other cost here for me would be that most of the solutions that are listed on this table aren't enterprise grade level solutions where I can go and admin them. They're more for personal use.
Why do you think this is? What is this where Zoom is making its money on cloud storage?
Well, I hate to get back to the. I mentioned one of the Zoom guys referred to most of us as the tier 0 customers.
Right.
But if you get an enterprise account, you get free unlimited storage. So they're not making money on those guys. I mean, they're obviously paying lots of money for lots of licenses. But for us little guys, if you want storage, we're going to charge you way more than anybody else charges for storage. I have my recordings dropped over to Dropbox, and I would delete the Zoom ones immediately, except there are certain files that Dropbox won't copy. The individual audios, which I need for some of my editing, and some of the textual files like transcripts and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So if I was, had enough wherewithal to make a thing that would do it automatically, I would do it myself and then not pay so much.
Does anyone know how much enterprise is? You have to have
Depends
it's
on
a
the
minimum
enterprise.
of.
That's
It's a minimum
a complicated
of
question.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
minimum
it
of
depends how many
250
users you want.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a minimum.
And there's no set
250.
price. I mean, I'm sure the Zoom sales rep knows what you can haggle. So you might not
really?
get the same price as me.
Oh,
Negotiate, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So just to let everybody know, Tony was asking about data when we're talking about backup solutions. So not Zoom related, but he was busy being specific about data. So again, we're talking about Dropbox, et cetera,
Well, that's,
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, boy. So data storage, I have a computer and I have attached to my computer a device which is as big as my computer. So I go, okay, copy that over to there. I have a backup. I'm not one of the big guys that's got thousands of terabytes of things to store. So mine is real simple. Pete, do you have an answer to this? You've been really quiet today.
What's the question?
How do you store your data as a backup?
My data?
Yeah.
What data?
Any data. Your computer.
I have external hard drives.
See, same as me.
I do it differently if it's of any interest to anyone, because I do a lot of data from video editing. I don't do any of my storage locally. It all goes over the network into a RAID 5 Synology 70 terabyte drive. and the editing is done directly and saved on there, and it's quick enough over the network so we don't have an issue. And then once a year, I do a backup of that and take it off-site. But that's a RAID 5, so it's really safe. I mean, I can take, I think, 3 disks can fail at the same time and nothing will get lost.
I remember the 3-2-1 rule, right? You
Yeah,
should
that
have
was good.
3 backups.
That's why my hand was up. Now I
Oh, I'm
don't
sorry.
have to
Go
tell
ahead,
my-
Frank. No, go ahead.
You started
So-
it.
So,
You finish it.
so I learned that you should have 3 copies on 2 different formats. So maybe one in the cloud or one on a hard disk or something like that. And then at least one of them should be in the cloud.
Well, and the way you actually say it, I was taught that almost 20 years ago, working in data centers, is 3 copies, 2 different media types, and one of the copies is far away.
Off
Off-site.
location. Yeah.
Off-site.
Not necessarily in the cloud, just off location. Right. Thank you.
This goes back to the days when you would send things to Iron Mountain, for those of us who are old enough to remember that conversation. Literally send things to Iron Mountain. Right.
Or when you had a buddy and every month you would swap a little drive.
Oh, how funny. You'd keep
That's
each
my
other's.
offsite and
you-
I'd be her offsite.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend of mine who has an identical Synology to mine, and our backups cross each other. And
Over the cloud?
No, just over, broadband to our 2 houses.
Yeah.
So it's not going into the cloud. It's
The
literally
buddy system.
Well, I mean, by the cloud, I mean, you're not hand carrying disks back and forth. You're doing it over the network.
That's right.
Oh, but hand carrying this is so much more fun because every month we got to chat with each other.
And to learn more about communication, watch last night's The Rundown Show. Pete, I know you had your head up, but just real quick, Lois, are you recording this?
I am. You gave me
Perfect.
permission, so
Beautiful. No, I just
At
wanted to make sure.
one point, we had a failure in that stream.
Oh,
and
that's right.
One of these shows, and I thought, I'm going to do the little security thing.
All right. Well, now you're
every one of these shows that I'm in, and then if
yeah,
it's
but now you're going to end up. You're going to have to start paying for a terabyte of storage on Google Storage.
Throw it away tomorrow if it went up.
Okay. All right. Pete, sorry, you were waiting before.
So one additional thing I invested in is these USB. They're metal. It has a bottle opener, but I wouldn't use it to open a bottle. But it's pretty solid because I've seen USB sticks that are plastic. And what I've done with these, actually, I've invested some money at the hardware store because if you ever go to some place and you plug this into someone else's computer and then you walk away and forget about it, this has a name tag on it and your USB storage on it. So that's one thing I do. I also still record DVD-ROMs or discs.
Is it still common practice if you're doing a presentation somewhere and you're going on site somewhere? Is the common practice to bring a USB key with your presentation? I would always bring my own computer or have it in the cloud, one of the two, because I mean, 99% of the time, I would just bring my computer because that's what I know how to use.
So I had a conference I worked 5 days in a row back in September, and most of the presenters did that, but some of them didn't. And fortunately, we were able to connect their laptops to the video system, but normally I would say that people should do that in general, but every once in a while you don't.
As a production manager and a director, I don't want you to bring your last minute files in. We've rehearsed this file.
You sent it ahead of time.
Don't. Too many times the vice president of marketing walks in, said, I was just in my room and I came up with a different thing, and video orders are different, longer, shorter, cues are not what we rehearsed. I'm very leery. And you also want to be careful you don't plug them in to in airports and places you don't know, because there's an awful lot of thievery going on when you plug into random places. There is a device that you can put in between it, but you want to be very careful when you're plugging in your USB key in someplace you don't know. Your dad should do that anyway.
I mean, as a general rule of thumb, you shouldn't put things into a place you don't know, I think.
Right.
Frank and Robert, go ahead.
So I was gonna start off saying I use a not a Synology but a Promise RAID. But anyways, your question is kind of complicated because it really depends on the venue and the event and the people who are involved in the event. I do a lot of corporate AV support, and lots of times we've got that hooked up to a television switcher and data projectors in the venue. And I don't want you bringing your laptop and undoing all my cables. I know that my laptop is the right dimensions, resolution, like unhooking all your cables. In other venues, sometimes you just walk up, there's a house computer, but some places they'll let you bring your laptop. It really depends. Some events that I support, you have to send your files in advance and they have to be in a specific file format and they have to get them a certain amount of days in advance if you're presenting. So it's complicated because it depends on who you're working with and where you're going.
I should have prefaced what I was saying about bringing my computer with. When I am talking about going to a venue, what I'm talking about is walking into a temple where I've never been before, and yet somehow I'm the AV guy. And like, there's no one, so yes, if you're actually going to a real venue and you have someone who knows what they're doing, then I'm with you 100%.
The big thing that's really super annoying is people who bring their own computers and don't bring the proper adapters.
Right.
Yes.
So, and they expect you to have every adapter. And for Apple, there's at least 25 or 30 different adapters, depending how old your device is.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert, go ahead.
I mean, we do corporate events, and we will not allow someone to bring in their computer. It just messes up everything because we have a Mac and a Windows, because the difference between PowerPoint and Keynote. Also, the setups are usually such that we're displaying something on a screen in the auditorium or in the conference center. We're also streaming that out, so we want to have the format proper, and we have a what's it called? The speaker notes on a separate monitor on the pedestal that the speaker is speaking from, and I don't want anyone to touch that during an event. Otherwise, we're dead. It just doesn't work. We get people to send in their presentations 3 days before. That's if they come in later, we just say no, we can't do it. And the reason we do and we can do that is because the interpreters have to get to know the presentations as well. Right. So if the interpreters don't have 3 days, then they can't prepare their words, their dictionaries, and etc. And so we just will not do that. And that's stipulated in the contracts. Of course, you will have that CEO who comes in last minute and does that. And we have a special routing that goes through. He has to send it to a specific email address, and we will then check that file and have someone look through it, scan it, and then push it down to our preloaded set of files. Otherwise, things just get into a mess. The pace is too quick. We're still in the stage, I don't know about you, but people really feel that they need to speak to people and not allow people to speak to them. So there's the pace of doing presentations is really fast.
I think what Robert's describing to me is how a professional approaches it.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be mean, but there's amateur approaches and there's professional approaches. And I think across the corporate AV industry, Robert's approach is the one that most professionals would adopt.
It's like teleprompter.
Yeah. All right, you get. I'm going to read, because what Ray Hardwood wrote is very similar to that. He says, for my events, I create a Dropbox request folder where all presenters must put their files. I check each file and move those that pass into the production area, which is shared with multiple members of the production team. Mm-hmm. By the way, I'm going to jump over to Lois, but I just want to, my follow-up question to all of this is, who gets to control so if you're screen sharing, right, in a Zoom, do you let the presenter control? Do you control? How do they tell you when to advance if you're the controller? That's my follow-up question. But Lois, go ahead.
All of the answers that we've been getting here, wildly different answers, depend upon the expectations and the group that you're working with. If you're doing a professional conference like Robert's talking with, and interpretations and all this other stuff, that's one thing. You're doing a 5-day conference over there like he's doing. Oh, wow. You're doing a presentation at the local genealogy club where there's 60 people in the room and 10 people online, and you're trying to do this thing. That's something that is not professional. And
yeah, it's not professional,
David,
Lois, but I'll tell you something. If I'm sitting in the audience and the first 15 minutes are the people futzing around with the projector because they don't know how to do it, I'm sorry, but I'm out of there. I have no interest in that.
just because you're not professional doesn't mean you have to be bad. It
Right.
just means that your workflow is slightly different. I agree. When the meeting starts, there should not be any of this, oh, well, does this plug go in this? And there shouldn't be any of that. But there's certainly, so to answer David's question, who controls the clicker? During the program, we have a meeting. So there's the president is announcing this and reporting from that and all this stuff. And then we get into the presentation. And at that point, the presenter is handed a little clicker, a little mouse, and that is what moves to the next slide. So they have control of their slideshow, just like they're used to at home, being able to control it. But that's it. There's somebody else back there who is, if something goes wrong, they can spotlight something else. They can do that. So there is a Zoom host as well as an in-room tech person, and then the clicker goes to the presenter. So anyway, I'm glad to hear all this real professional stuff, and it's not going to be my little
Robert, go ahead.
Just to answer your question, David, on site, of course, the person speaking has the clicker, but if we have something that is speakers online, then during the rehearsal, and if we don't go through the rehearsal, and I've said this before, we won't allow people to come online during the event. So during the rehearsal, we will share the presentation and give the speaker the control of clicking the slides. There is no next slides in our events. It just takes up too much time, and it sounds bad. Not to mention that if the guy goes and wants to go back one slide, he needs to have the control. He's the one who's pacing the presentation and doing the talk.
Right.
But that's
away from him.
That's on site, right?
No,
clicker
on
should
Zoom.
go, like life itself, we only go forward. When I tell them in rehearsal, if you screw up and go past your slide, very simply, you say, Ray, excuse me, stop the meeting. I'm sorry, I screwed up. I wasn't paying attention I tell them this during rehearsal. I wasn't paying attention, and therefore, can you go back one? And they have to announce that to the whole. They realize when I hand them the clicker, it's the go forward only. It's the descend, it's the only clicker to use, and one button.
Wait, what is it?
Robert, do you use the remote control in order to do that? Is that how you give them?
Yeah. I will use, what we will usually do is we will set up a computer with the presentations and we will share the screen, but that's not what the viewers will see. Then we'll pick up the share screen through ZoomISO and then stream that in a clean copy with the right format and everything else that goes onto it. And at that point, we know who's going to be speaking, so we will give them remote control over Zoom.
Sorry, and when you say remote control over Zoom, you mean the built-in, like not using like slides clicker or anything like that. You mean the built-in remote control?
We use the built-in remote control for Zoom.
Can someone explain? I don't quite understand how that works. It can be,
well, let's put something on the screen and play with it.
Keynote. It can be, I mean, it can be any of those.
They can move the mouse on your screen.
Oh,
There's two different things, I think.
So
There's,
the problem I have with that as a this is my production studio, and you can see the entire production staff right here. The problem with that is that someone has to have the PowerPoint actively focus on the machine so that it can be clicked. And it's the one reason I like Slides Clicker, is because I can show it on my screen, run the Slides Clicker app in the background on my machine, which gets the, people can click on their cell phone. It's a web browser. They get a green button and a red button. They can go forward one, they can go backward one. And I don't have to be looking at that on my screen. It will take care of that in the background. And in a one-guy production environment, I think it's kind of the only way you can do it. If you've got multiple people and multiple computers, yeah, you can do some of those other things. But
and
for
Slides
people like
Clicker,
me, that's it.
And that'll work with Keynote or PowerPoint?
It will work with a variety of things. I haven't really tested it with all those things. If you go to their website, they say, look, we can do it with this, and this, and this. I haven't tested it to be sure.
Ray is absolutely
said
right, David. I have a dedicated machine just for presentations. So there's nothing else happening on that machine, just the presentation.
So wait, so how does, okay, that actually was,
Would you like
so
to?
how does that, is that machine in the meeting, or are you ingesting that machine into your production? And then
It's probably a panelist, I would
Would you
guess.
like to
Yeah.
try it? I've got something.
okay, wait a second. Is it a panelist, Robert?
It is a panelist.
Okay. So like almost like the meters here, it comes in just as its own person in the meeting, as it were.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
And
but,
that's why remote
we
control
get-
works then, because they use the remote control to that machine
Right.
to advance the things, even though Robert may actually be shipping out the video from some other source.
And it is a
and
screen-
maybe I wasn't clear on that, but in the meeting, they'd see the share screen. In the event venue where we have people physically, they'd get the ZoomISO feed onto a big
Right.
screen.
But it is a Zoom screen share. It's not like a screen scrape into a production tool.
No.
Okay.
No.
Gotcha. We can try it, but let's get Frank and Hasmuk real quick.
Oops.
so I left a link in the chat, but basically Zoom has remote control, which is like VPNing into or whatever into somebody else's computer. But then they also have slide control, which allows you to control slides. So there's two different things we're talking about. I'm not sure I would want someone to actually be able to move the mouse on my screen, so I'd probably want to use slide share. But I'm also more like Robert, which or even Ray said, like a DSAN in a public event and an online. But Lois is gonna think I'm nuts, but I've done corporate events with the president of China where it's hundreds of millions of dollars, even billions of dollars. There's rehearsals. There's a person who's controlling the whole show from another city. There's people across the world on this. When Jonas was here last week talking about comms. So there's a tech comms production. There's lawyers online. There's a director. There's one person advancing the slides. There's probably a backup person in case that person falls over. It's like NASA. At the high levels, it's run like a NASA moonshot. It's nothing's left to chance or circumstance. And usually the important people who come to the front of the podium, all they do is give their presentation. They don't touch anything or have to do anything themselves except exist and communicate effectively.
And that's the way it should be. Yeah. Did you want to, I'm sorry I jumped the gun and shared the screen there. Do you want me to share screen and you can try it out?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to do that now. This is a keynote presentation. Feel free to jump around all you want. I have no idea how you're going to do that.
All right, so let's walk folks through this. So
are you using slide control or remote control?
Well, right now I'm not doing anything. So let me pull this over here and clean my screen up so you can maybe see a little bit. Okay. So I'm in All right, so I'm not going to spotlight myself because I think then we get the doohickey. Or maybe we could. Let me try that. No, we kind of, but then if I switch here. All right, I think that worked. Okay. I don't actually know if that worked.
Just let me set the scene for you, please, David, if I can.
Yeah, please.
Because there are two options here. If I'm doing the presentation, I can request remote control from the host.
Right.
Okay, or you can send me remote control.
Okay, so let's say I'm right. So let's say I'm the presenter and Lois is you're producing this. So she has my slides and I want a remote control. So I'm using, just for so everyone knows, I'm using dual monitors. So here's my meeting monitor and here's the screen share monitor down here. So now, in order for me to request,
I'm not sure you can do that as the host, to be very honest with you, David.
It makes sense.
Click
that
the
host
three
can
dots
do
at the
it.
very top, where it says Lois Richter's screen.
Mhm.
oh, here on her screen, right. Okay,
Request remote control.
Request remote, thank you. Request remote control.
So you're requesting control from me.
Correct. So I'm going to go ahead and request.
And I see that on my screen. I will approve it.
All right, so
now
now I
you have
got
to
click
move-
to start the remote control of the shared screen. All right, so I'm controlling this now.
Yes, you are.
And I can click play, and there we go. Now, what's interesting, though, is that I think...
Both of us controlling the same little thing, because I can grab it and move it around.
Well, wait a second.
He can grab it and move it around.
Is there only one screen here? Because I can't do anything.
Well, that's because you put it in a different mode. I had it so you could just change.
No, I put it in presenter mode because I want to play the presentation.
Then hit
Can you
the
just
arrow.
click on it?
Yeah, I'm clicking all over
So
it.
that I have on my keyboard arrows, and it's doing what I'm telling it to do with arrows. I don't know how you're going to get to anything with your mouse because you've hidden all the controls.
Well, no, I shouldn't have to see any controls. I should be able to just right and left click and it should work. Can you do me a favor and take this out of presentation mode?
I have no idea how, but I'll
Just
try
click
to
escape.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
escaped it.
So
now, left is what I would use to go to the next slide.
well, no, but that's not actually the way you should do a presentation because then you're not in presentation mode.
No,
So
that's not true. I do that
Well-
all the time. I control my back and forth on the slides. Yes, Ray, I know I'm not supposed to go backwards on slides.
and then you just, what do you just screen scrape this?
No,
I mean,
just,
if you're sharing this whole thing, then people are seeing your interface.
So
Okay, well,
Not
that's
not
for,
really good professional.
Yeah, that's for a different discussion. I wouldn't choose to do it that way, which is totally fine. So I can navigate through this, but what I'm not quite understanding, let me do play in window. So I now have,
So
So
the
I can-
problem is we're screen sharing. David, if you were to see my computer, you would see that now there's the window that has the slide in it. There is separately another window that has the cube.
hold on a second. Can you stop for a moment? Right, I know what you're talking about. Can you just confirm that you're not clicking anything? Am I controlling this?
I am not clicking anything. I think it's on
Okay.
autopilot right now.
No, it's not. I'm doing that.
Okay.
So now I have control. And the way that I got control now I even have keyboard control. No, you're okay. So when I clicked on,
Play in window.
yeah, when I clicked on play in window, then I did have control. When I clicked just on play, let me just try this one more time, Frank. I see your hand up.
It takes the whole screen.
Well, yeah, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is that I actually don't have control. Can you do me a favor, Lois?
If you click the arrows on your keyboard, would that do anything?
No, that's what I'm doing. I genuinely don't have control. Will you do me a favor, Lois? Will you escape again? Hit escape.
Oh, hold on. I have to, somehow you've locked me out. There we go.
All right. And now can you just press play? And I want to see if I can control it. Yeah.
Do you know how many real meetings I've been to that are like this and looks like hell?
I have no control when you're in full screen play mode.
I don't.
I only have control.
Sorry, we're out of time. The meeting's over. Bye.
Yeah, I agree.
Does anybody have any questions?
We'll concern the stock market issue next week because we couldn't get Lois's computer to work. Sorry, bye.
My computer.
David, just think of it this way. Lois has two screens. Okay, she is displaying her presentation on the second screen, and that's the screen she's shared. Think of it that way. If you don't open it in a window, you've got no control.
I don't understand that. Say that one more time.
Okay, think of it this way. If Lois has played play on her keynote, and she has two screens, two monitors, she'll get the presentation on one screen and she'll get the control on the other screen.
Correct.
Correct? So what you have effectively got is you selected the presentation screen. You can't do anything on the presentation screen during a keynote presentation.
Well, that's not actually true. So I have, for example, I have right now, I have a keynote open here on the screen. The first slide just happens to be blue. I don't have any controls open. I have it open in full screen mode. If I'm moving my mouse off, I've made that active, and now I can use my keyboard and I can go right through it.
Yes, the arrows on your keyboard work if it's your keyboard.
Right, but what I'm saying is that if Zoom slide control, if the point of that is for me to be able to control the slides, then because again, remember, resolution, the quality of the presentation, in part at least, has to do with the size of the presentation. So I want it to be in full screen. Frank, did you want to jump back in?
I have a question I wanted to ask. First of all, does everyone know what remote desktop protocol is, RDP?
Yep.
Okay, so
well, it stands for Rabbi David Paskin. Those are my initials.
It also stands for Dave. Yeah. So RDP is a standard that and lots of companies have built products around this that allows you to control somebody else's computer from over the internet or over the network or whatever, right? So Zoom has that, and they call it remote control or remote support. And you could do a slideshow that way, although I wouldn't recommend it. Or you can use the slide control, which is the tool they made specifically for doing slideshows and
right. But what's the difference, Frank? Because I was just doing slide control, and I could click anywhere on her screen.
Right, which is a major concern from a security point of view. Like you and me have a meeting, and I say, can I control your slides? And you give me control of your whole computer, and then I go and do something I'm not supposed to do, where I click shut down in the middle of or reboot or whatever. Like slide control allows you to control slides and not go into your folders, write an email on your computer.
No, because I requested slide control.
Right. I'm saying there's a difference.
Everywhere. But I think I could click everywhere. Can we try that? Does someone else do that?
You did click, David. You did get into my computer.
Yeah.
Not just that little window.
So that's where my confusion is. Frank.
And were you using remote control or slide control?
No, I think we were using slide. Let's do it again. Lois, go ahead and share a doohickey. Do you have a doohickey up?
Hold on. There we go. Same slides.
Yep. So, and here's, all right, so let me just move this over.
It can now see your program or your.
Yeah. All right, so here's Lois's thing. I click like we did before on the three dots. I say, oh no, sorry, my bad. It's request remote control. So where's the slide thing then?
I put it in the chat, the link on the support article about how it works.
Well, can't you just tell me? Do I have to actually read?
Hold on a second. You have to assign slide control. So start the meeting, join the meeting.
Okay.
Begin sharing a Keynote, PowerPoint, Google Slide presentation. So whoever wants to do that.
So Lois is already
on the sharing toolbar. Click slide control.
So Lois needs to do that.
Yeah, this is Lois's work.
Assuming it's turned on in your account settings.
So I do that as I get into sharing, right? So I'll stop share and then start sharing and follow.
No, you should be able to do it right now.
No.
Open your sharing menu bar.
What sharing menu bar? I have a.
The green
Okay, there
box
we
with
go.
an up arrow.
Okay, yes, got it.
Click
So now
slide
we're-
control.
Hold on. I don't see anything that says slide control.
Then you may not have it turned on in your account.
It's David's account, not my account.
I think you would
Screen
need it
that-
to be turned on as well.
Advanced.
It may have to be turned on both of our accounts.
Anyways, let's pretend
Not
she
working.
saw it. Then she would pick one or more participants who she wants to give slide control to. The slide control button will update with the number of participants with slide control next to the icon. And then after you've assigned slide control to a participant, they will retain slide control for the duration of this current session. Even if you stop and start sharing again, the slide controls will disappear if you exit presentation mode, but they will reappear when you begin presenting again. You can revoke an individual's access by clicking their name in the list, or revoke all by clicking on Stop Slide Control button, or by stopping sharing completely.
Oh, interesting.
So there is a difference, and that's what I've been sort of trying to get at for a little while now.
I know we were just ignoring you. No, you're absolutely right. And we clicked on the wrong thing.
Ryan,
So
could you
David,
please
if you
share the
wanted-
link again in the chat?
If you want.
Could you please
to-
share the link again in the chat? I haven't been there
Yeah.
before.
Happy to. Sorry,
Thank
just give
you.
me 1 second.
And David, if you want to try this next week, you might want to check and make sure that you have given permission for this meeting to do that.
Well, yeah, but again, I don't think it's me because you're the one who's doing it. I think it's you.
No, David,
Um,
you need to set it up in the account first and then
No,
go
I understand.
down.
I'm logging in right now to see if we have it turned on, but save. Okay.
Boy, this is an
settings.
incredible rabbit hole, isn't it?
And what's it called? Control
I put the link in the chat.
bar and except if I can in me slide control. Yeah, it's turned on for me during a presentation. So this is, I'll just show everyone.
Hold on.
So in settings, I just typed in control to search. And then here it is, remote control. During screen sharing, the person who is sharing can allow others to control the shared content. So I have a feeling you have to turn this on, Lois, on your end.
Well, we can't, we're assuming, okay.
David, you're referring to remote control. Can you type
Oh,
in
crap.
slide control?
Well, that's right above
Sorry.
it.
Yeah, but I read the wrong one. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
And
During
remote
a
control
presentation, the
works.
person who is sharing can allow others to control the PowerPoint or Keynote slide presentation. It is right above it, but mine is still turned on. So Lois, I guess yours maybe isn't.
But you didn't ask for slide control. You asked for
you-
real control.
No. But you have to grant slide control. Remember, you went into your share settings and you didn't see it there. That's because it's probably not turned on your end.
Yeah, okay. General. View more settings. Close the window.
Yeah, the easiest thing was just to search for the word control.
Well, I haven't got there yet. Now I'm there. Slide
Okay.
control on. Okay. Done.
We'll have to see if it
Now, does
clicks
that,
in
does
for this
that,
current
I
meeting.
have to leave and come back?
I don't know. Give it a shot. We'll see.
Okay, so
not
I'm
sure.
opening the share and I'm looking at the keynote and I'm opening that. And then I'm going back to the same place and looking for screens, documents, and advanced. I don't have anything about slide.
Yeah, so you may have to
I may
jump
have to
out.
leave
jump
and
back
come
in.
back. Yeah.
You know what I'll do? I'll open a because I
Okay,
know
I'll
it's
be
in
right
the-
back, guys. It was good knowing you. If I don't make it back, think good thoughts about.
We'll miss you. Don't forget to write.
I motion to make Lois president of the company.
All in favor? There we go.
Oh my gosh! All right,
Yeah,
here let me open.
that's interesting.
this.
Maybe that solves the problem I was thinking about today, because I have an upcoming meeting going into a webinar, and I was thinking about how to get the presentation best into the meeting for the panelists to control it. And maybe that's the easiest way to go. Have a separate computer, share it into the meeting, and give permission.
All right, so I just started sharing that same presentation. So I'm now going to come over here and let's see, I'm going to go up to my slide control. So right in my toolbar, hopefully people can see this. It's hard, I guess. But right in my sharing toolbar, I have a slide control option. And when I click on that, it shows me participants only see slide controls when you are in presentation mode. So that means presumably for any of these tools, you have to be in you can't just, you have to actually be in presentation mode. Sorry. And so now I'm going to give Lois, are you here? So I'm going to give Lois control. So I've now given I'm also going to have mic control. I'll let you guys fight over it.
Do every second slide.
And so, and I now have a stop slide control. So presumably you all should be able to control my slides now.
David, could
We
you
can't
please
hear
give me
you,
control
Lois.
as well? I would like to see how it looks.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't get anything that said I could do it.
Yep, the control comes through straight away, and you just use your left arrow keys. Your left arrow key, right arrow keys. That's the only control you have to move the slides forwards and backwards.
Now, my keyboard key doesn't do anything. I'm moving the mouse. But
Well, someone just, oh no, I did that, sorry.
but my keyboard doesn't do anything.
It says here that 3 people have control. Interesting.
You have to use the left and right arrow keys.
Yes.
Now I'm doing this in window.
Are you doing
as
it in
opposed to
presentation mode?
Yes, I am in presentation mode, but I'm doing it in window as opposed to full screen. I wonder if that makes a difference.
I have no control either, David.
Can you
Huh.
move the mouse?
Me neither.
So let me
Oh,
What
I'm
does
not
that
moving
mean?
your mouse. I'm moving my mouse. Never mind.
let me get out of this, and I'm going to change it to what do you call it?
Presentation mode.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Full screen.
But I'm going to play in full screen. Am I still screen sharing, by the way? I don't even know anymore. I've lost track of what I'm doing.
You've
Yep,
got
I'm seeing your
a
screen.
bunch of stuff on the
Okay.
screen. I'm not sure.
No,
if
but that's not. That's
You're not sharing. You're only showing
I'm
your
not
no.
All right. So wait, I have to see. This isn't going to really
you're not
work
screen
because
sharing.
no, I know the problem is I can't go full screen because then it takes over my entire screen and I can't control
Okay.
Zoom anymore.
I will screen share.
Now I have no control over Zoom anymore, which is
I'm going to screen share, Dave.
okay.
Okay. Now, how it says, I go to share. Come on, share. And
Well, you're already sharing. So in
no,
your
no,
sharing,
but you said in the sharing buttons.
No, Lois,
It's
it's
share
right
toolbar.
of the share thing. It's called slide control. It's right, the symbol right of it.
you should have a toolbar when you start sharing.
The toolbar says share, and to the right of that says pause, annotate.
Keep going.
Over there, slide control. There we go. Who wants it? Frank, you want it.
Me, please, as well.
Okay, Frank
Andre.
and Andre.
Yeah, Ray, we can definitely do a slide clicker after this.
Okay, and who else wants it?
I'd like it, please.
Okay, so I now have 3 people check marked, and it says those 3 can control my slides.
And I have no control.
But somebody does.
does. Unless that was me.
I think that was you, Lois.
Somebody's tapping.
It's not working for me as well.
So I'm trying to advance using my right and left. That's the dinging that you're hearing.
Same here, I believe.
Huh.
President Lois.
Yeah.
Somebody
We
saw,
So, Robert,
We nominated you and you were confirmed while you were gone.
We're definitely doing something wrong here.
this
Yeah,
is somebody
maybe
kicked
Robert
me
has
out of
something to say.
sharing, by the way.
Yeah, Lois, can you see a number that says that you've given 3 people
Yes.
slide
And
control?
there's check marks next to the 3 names.
Mhm.
And then at the top, there's something that says stop slide control.
Right.
I did not
Yeah.
check.
I never saw a banner that told me I had slide control.
No, I didn't get it either.
Well,
Can you
And
have
I-
multiple people do
I
that?
think it's time for me to give up and somebody else to do it, because obviously I'm doing something wrong.
Why don't you just uncheck 2 of the names and see if the one person can do
All
it?
right, well, I have to be sharing again, so let me try that again. Sorry about that. And you want it in presentation mode, play. Oh, that takes the whole screen. Now, do I have your slide control is still there and it still says 3 people.
So uncheck 2 and let's just give it to 1 and see if that person
I'm
can.
going to uncheck Frank. Now there should be David and Andre.
But uncheck one of the 2 of us.
Oh, here's something it said. Participants will only see slide controls when you are in presentation mode. When I was on last time, I don't think I was in presentation mode. I think it was that in that window thing.
Well, even in window, that's still presentation mode. So do
Okay.
you? So who
This
has?
is why we let professionals advance the slides.
Who, who has control now?
I do.
Yeah, I still
No.
don't have control.
Imagine sitting in the audience for this long and waiting for a bunch of people to figure it out.
No, but
No,
who?
I cannot
Lois,
imagine
by now.
sitting that long waiting. I'd be up and out of the.
Lois,
out of the
who have you
auditorium.
given control to?
Right now, David is the only one with control. You said knock off the other ones. I'm going to add Andre back.
And I've got nothing. Yeah. Huh. What do you think we're doing wrong?
Hey, Zoom, if you're listening, this is too hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's nothing in here that says, yes, I agree, I did it right. There's no
Right.
OK button.
Right. You just click the names. I
I
agree.
just put the names, and then
Yeah.
at the top it says stop slide control. So I'm going to do that now. Stop slide control. Nobody has slide control now. I'm going to add them back. It's unrealistic.
I don't honestly know what's happening. I've never seen this to this extent, but I will say that I've only given slide control to 1 person at a time. But we've tested that, haven't we?
Yes.
I don't know if it's still true, but I seem to recall you could not have slide control and remote control on in your settings at the same time. You had to pick one or the other, but I don't know if that's still true.
I remember that, but I can't say how long ago it was I saw it.
So in the notes, it says this option is only available when you are in full screen presentation mode, which right there means I could never use this, because when you're in full screen presentation mode, you can't see
But
literally can't see anything else.
You're not the average bear.
No one can. It takes over your entire screen.
You know,
You
if
have
you
to have
set,
a second screen.
you can
You have
set
to
up
have a second screen.
you can set up
No,
a
even if you have
presentation
a second screen,
you can set up a presentation in PowerPoint in 3 ways: full screen, windowed, or kiosk mode. That's how I stop it from taking over my whole screen.
right. But it says here,
And
the
this is
option will
Keynote,
only
not
be
PowerPoint.
available. The option will only be available when you are in full screen presentation mode.
You can do something similar in Keynote. I'm just
Okay.
making a point. There's a
Gotcha.
way to
in-
run.
In
there's
Keynote,
a way to
no,
run
you
it.
can't in Keynote.
No,
Ma-
but you
no.
could.
You have 2 options in
You
Keynote.
definitely you definitely can in PowerPoint. I
in
do it all the
PowerPoint,
time.
maybe. Right. In Keynote, you've got full screen or in window. When you do full screen, no matter how many displays you have connected, every single display is taken over by the Keynote. It's the most frustrating thing in the world.
I do that all the time, David, and I don't have that problem.
You
I
do
think
what all the time?
I think there's a preference you can change in Keynote.
Yeah, I
So
set
it
Keynote
behaves
up to
differently.
run full screen, and it runs on my left-hand screen in front of me.
Yeah.
I still have my regular screen in front of me.
No, I understand that. But you're running it in windowed mode, and then you're making that one window full screen. That's not the same thing as full screen presentation mode. So let me
I
me
guess
show you-
I'm missing the subtlety in that statement, but you
Right,
now
let-
have
How
me
about if you
interested.
share screen?
Right. So, well,
Lois,
don't
can I
worry
just
about share
ask you a
screen.
question before we carry on, Lois? Did you share the view on your monitor, or did you share Keynotes as an application?
I only have one monitor, and that's my computer. And so I just said share.
What did you choose?
The window that had
The
that
presentation.
application. I chose the Keynote application.
And it says
Okay,
in the
so
notes.
you didn't choose the monitor, you chose the app, which is below, correct?
I don't know what you mean by choosing the monitor. When I go into share, there are windows and you can choose the whole computer or each individual app or each individual window. And I chose the thing that had the slideshow in it.
Yeah, so the slideshow was on the screen and it was also in the app. Yeah?
Let me.
You're doing this and it's the same thing. I don't understand this.
Let me
David,
explain.
maybe show it.
Show
it, then you can talk about it.
That exactly. Okay, so I have a presentation open. And now I have it open in windowed mode. This is a keynote, but that's for these purposes, that's not important. I have a couple of options. I can share the display. Now, if I make this, let me just make this full screen real quick.
That's right. Your desktop.
Now I can make this full screen and then I could choose desktop 1. Or, and this is, I think, what you did, Lois, you can choose Keynote, the actual presentation. According to the notes, it works either way, sharing an entire screen or the specific Keynote, PowerPoint, or Google Sheets window. So now,
David, got it to the right. You have another thing that says Keynote Presenter Display.
Correct. That's what. So when you're using Keynote, let me move the sharing window out of the way.
No, in the sharing window is what I'm talking about. You missed.
Right. No, I understand that, but let me explain why. When you share, so there are two options for play in here. There's play in slideshow, there's play in full screen or play in window. I have it now for play in window. When you do play in window, you get 2 different windows that come up. And if you don't get this window, you can very easily open it just by clicking up here, right? So, and this is your like speaker notes. So presumably you could put this, I could share this and then keep this on my screen with my notes down here. And I can see what you all were saying before about sharing it, like this. You accomplish the same thing by using share in window and then using this speaker panel, whatever it's called. Now, if I go to share, to my Zoom share options, I also have the option to share that. This is the presenter display over here.
Yeah.
I don't want to share that because that's this thing. I want to share the actual keynote. But I want to just get back to the 2 types of sharing though. So this is share in window. If I click on my little green button up here, it'll make it full screen. My understanding, or at least the way I'm reading these notes here, is that does not work. When it says the option will only be available when you are in full screen presentation mode, to me, full screen presentation mode means here, full screen presentation mode. And as soon as I do that and I click play, every single monitor I have goes into presentation mode. I no longer can see anything else. So I think that unless you can, and maybe PowerPoint is different. Maybe PowerPoint has a way to do full screen presentation mode without taking over every monitor.
It takes over one screen.
Yeah, so there you go. So then the answer is to use PowerPoint, not Keynote, because this is just a quirk in Keynote that really makes it unusable.
And it's one of the things I do when someone drops a Keynote into one of my production events is I convert it to PowerPoint.
Really? Huh. That's interesting.
I have homework for you, David.
What's that?
If you choose to accept the mission, I put a link in the chat. I don't want you to do it right now, but try it some other time and tell me if it does what I think it does.
Well, wait, I'm going to do it right now. What are you talking? Hold on a second. That's not fair.
No, we've spent enough time on this. Come on, let's go on. We've got other questions to
Well,
do.
we actually don't have other questions. But wait, before we go on,
Tony does have a question in YouTube when you're ready.
All right, but hold on. Ray wanted to share. Did you want to share the clicker thingy dingy? Did you want to do that?
Well, sure. I put a link in the chat, and if you can get that over to your cell phone, or you can actually do it on your computer if you like, it will work on your computer. Put in your name, put in a bogus email address, because I might end up showing the screen that might show your email address, but put those in.
All right. I am copying this.
Anybody is welcome to do that. Basically, it's slidesclicker.com/join, and then there's a meeting code equals, and there's a code that SlidesClicker generates.
David, so
If I'm
here's-
doing a Zoom meeting that I own, I can actually link up to my Zoom, and it'll go look up the Zoom meeting ID.
So it's look at that. So it's asking for the meeting ID. Interesting. So here's the meeting ID that I'm putting in, and I'm going to click join. Slides control disabled by host. Host will enable it when
So
it's
it's
your
not
turn.
your turn. It's not your turn.
It's not my turn.
It's
All
not
right,
your turn.
but
Someone else is controlling. Someone else is
But can I
controlling.
just say something,
the
Ray?
slideshow.
I just want to say, host in this case is not me. I'm the host of this meeting. They mean the host of the slides.
The host who's
Right.
it's me in this case.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you share the slides so that we can see? Yeah.
So, you went away, David. Open
What?
back up and put yours back in. It needs
Went
to be
away.
it needs to be active. I don't know. It's but I'm gonna let Frank control the slide. Frank, is that you?
Yes. It's the
Yeah,
greatest
these are
moment
some
of my
slides
life. I'm controlling a slide from across the universe. Woo! It's 1999 all over again.
So
What is,
there's
Sorry. What is what app is it? Is this
Slides Clicker.
no. Is this PowerPoint?
Yeah, it's
That works?
PowerPoint. Yeah. Did you get back in, David?
Yeah.
I don't see you, so that means you've probably typed the meeting ID incorrectly.
Do you see me?
I don't. Frank is the only one, and Frank now just went away. So
I grow tired of this foolishness.
as your graffiti says, otherwise you were enjoying yourself. So I know that's a long number. 124-3819-314-0480.
Oh, I thought you wanted the Zoom meeting that we're in.
No, the number that was in that URL that I put in chat, that's what I need you to do.
Oh,
So now I've got David. David, you're now in charge. Do you see
And you're
red
on
button
mute.
and a green button?
You're on mute, David.
All right. I just want to say that's really confusing. It said meeting
Which part?
ID, I think.
Yeah.
And
Well, like I said,
it's
if
not the
this was
meeting
my
ID.
meeting, it would be the meeting ID of the one that we're on, but because it's
Oh,
not
would
my
it?
meeting,
Oh, okay.
yes.
So yeah, so now I'm controlling it. Interesting. How is this? How is this? Oh, it's not actually going to your computer. It's controlling the share. Is that what it is? Is that what's
Well,
happening?
It is going from your phone to the Slides Clicker site, then to the app that's running on my desktop.
Right. That's the key point, Ray, is there's an app running on your desktop. Because I've used this
Oh.
too. I've used this too because it's really good because it can be on a phone. The app, the controlling app can live on a phone. So any old speaker anywhere in the country can control their slides, even if they're hosted on slides are hosted on my machine.
So I have a question. So
Yes.
I don't usually screen share. I usually I kind of screen scrape it in as a camera, and then I just spotlight myself. Could I use this in that case, or does it have to be a screen share?
No, I
It-
use
it
it. I
doesn't-
use it in the case you're just describing. I have a computer going into my ATEM with the slides on it.
Right. You're controlling the PowerPoint app. That's the only thing you're controlling is the PowerPoint app. I can stop screen share and
And it
you
would
can
still work.
continue to advance my slides. You won't be able to see them, but
So why is it connected to the Zoom meeting then? The Zoom meeting ID.
it's just a number that they use internally in Slides Clicker. And you're right. Most people wanted a meeting ID that matched the Zoom meeting. And if I were the host of the meeting, I would send out the link that includes my meeting ID. But because
Okay.
you have to be joined into Slides Clicker, and you have to pick a meeting from your list of meetings, because it doesn't want you to put in somebody else's meeting ID and
Right.
then somehow, be able to take over. Has to be one of your meeting IDs.
See, it says here, Slides Clicker needs to be downloaded on the machine of the host of meeting. This web login of Slides Clicker can only be used to control the presenters. But see, I wanted to control the keynote on a different computer.
You're overthinking the terminology, David.
Okay.
They're
They are talking about the host of the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, thank you. I understand. Yeah. See, right. This is host of meeting. It's not great language. Okay.
But because in general, I mean, you guys have many
Of
multiple
course.
things if you're,
Of
really,
course.
really huge organization. And me, it's just me. I'm going to be the host and the producer and the technical director and the cleanup after the meeting is over and all that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
Apparently-
I find that it works really, really well. I like the feature on my screen over here. I'm going to show this to everybody as soon as I move. Oh, David, could you go back
Oh, wait. Go back to what? Sorry.
to what you were just on, that URL, so you can be back on my screen.
Yep.
Go back to control if you can.
Yep, I am. Hold on. I have to just put this in again. techguy.com. Do you need to put an email address in? I wonder.
You have to put one in. It can be bogus. It doesn't have to
Oh, yeah,
match
you
anything.
do.
David@noreply.com.
Right.
Beautiful.
Okay. Join.
All right.
All right,
So
I'm back.
Is that really your slideshow?
No.
No, these are the controls. The slideshow is what he's sharing.
So give me a moment here. I'm going to start a new share and go over here to this. So this is the Slides Clicker. Well, I've got your email address out there anyway, David.
No,
sorry.
it's fine. It's
But
fine.
you're not checking.
So what I've got is this enable button, and if we had 5 different speakers lined up for the next hour, everyone gets 10 minutes. I could turn David off. His little screen then shows something else.
It says slides control disabled by host. Host will enable you when it's your turn.
Hey,
And when I do
time for
that-
some disclosure. Are you a reseller of slideclicker.com?
I am not. I am not.
You still aren't
I-
seeing your slideshow.
I've taken my slideshow off so you can see the screen of Slides Clicker. I am. David
All
is
you see is-
controlling the.
all you
David
see
is
is red and
controlling the
green.
PowerPoint that is on my screen.
No,
Now
Lois.
you guys can't see it because I haven't shown it at the moment.
Lois, he's screen sharing. You're not looking at the screen share. Click back over to the screen share, and you'll see what he's sharing.
Do
I'm
you see
looking
the
at
Slides
Google.
Clicker app?
There is no screen share.
He is indeed screen sharing. If you look at the top of the green and red on the left-hand side, you'll probably see a couple tabs.
Yeah.
You're probably in the meeting tab, and then you can click on the screen share tab.
What the heck?
So that was new
When
in
did
what
that-
6 point whatever, I think. Yeah, they
Yeah.
changed the way
Early
that
6.
where that you can now navigate between the meeting and the screen share.
That's ridiculous.
Well,
That
no,
is- that is going to mess up so many people.
no, it's
They're
not
going to
because
think
by
they're screen sharing, and
No, no,
then
no.
we'll see them.
No. By default, you land on the screen share. You, in testing, clicked out of it somehow. But I think for most people, by default, you're on the screen share.
And you have to enable multiple screen shares in order for that to happen as well. We actually explored this in the later days of version 5. But that ability to select which person you were looking at was like a full screen thing. You had to scroll up and down to pick somebody and which screen were you going to look at and that sort of thing. And they've simplified that, at least if you're going to do multiples. Yep. But at any rate, back to really the way this works. There's a home thing that gives you some stuff. There's your meeting. Do I enable all presenters by default? Do I show the screenshots to the presenters? It will show the individual screens on your phone. I've tried that and it doesn't work really well. Show notes to the presenters and some other stuff. And then I have this presenter's view that I can turn on or off individual speakers. So if Lois and Frank and David were going to co-present from one deck, I would turn, whoever's going to speak now and turn them on. And as they were getting near their thing, I would turn the next person on. And when David finished his last words, I'd turn him off so he couldn't accidentally advance or retract slides while Lois or Frank were talking.
By the way, there's another one called Internet Clicker, which I had signed up for, but it looks like you have to pay for that. Oh no, you can pay for this one too.
Yeah, this is also a paid an app.
Oh, they're both paid. Okay.
But I had been looking for something like this. I mean, I pulled out when you were showing your the web page about a thing. I've got the old Logitech thing, and I thought, oh, this is going to be great. But PowerPoint has to have the focus while this is on, and of course this doesn't work remotely either. But I thought, oh, I can stand here and just use that to go back and forth, but I have to maintain focus on my PowerPoint. With Slides Clicker, the PowerPoint screen can be 15 layers deep on my on my screen here, and it's still going out if I've got it screen shared. You have to share not the screen, but share the app window, and it just works.
Look at the pricing difference here. So Internet Clicker, which is the one that I was just familiar with, for unlimited events, remote clicker, unlimited multiple presenters, embed in other apps is $45 a year basically, whereas the one that you're showing us is one host, unlimited presenters, unlimited support, is only $33 a year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a much, and they look, I think, exactly the same, pretty much. They pretty much do exactly the same thing. That's so interesting. Huh.
So yeah, the good news is I send somebody a sheet that says, okay, you're going to get a link. If it doesn't go to your phone, if you don't have access to your email on your phone, then just go to your phone and type in slidesclicker.com/join and fill in the screen.
Right.
And what I found is I've had one or two instances where people would advance their slide, and if they didn't advance their slide within, I don't know, I think it was about 2 minutes to the next one, their phone, would go blank, and they would have to go back in and tap the phone and open the screen and that sort of thing. So, John Idelson, did you have your hand up?
Interesting. John Idelson?
Oh, goodness.
What?
You snuck in while we weren't looking?
He's on mute.
No, he's unmuted, but his microphone's not working.
Right.
I know that was long, by the way. But I mean, this is.
How about now, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
This is a pretty regular use case. So I mean, I know that took forever, but knowing how to do this easily and cleanly seems important to me.
Yep.
I was just at a conference this morning where I presented using QCam Presenter, and had a Zoom meeting and had the in-house, and they had the famous, the clicker that everybody uses. And we played with it for a long time, and they finally gave up. And they said, when when you change the slide, I'll click it in the house. But for what Ray's talking about, what's good about this is it doesn't matter where your PowerPoint is. And I use a dummy monitor on my Macs, one of those little HDMI dummies, and put the presentation screen there. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing anywhere else. It's safe. That's going to be where it's going to advance.
If it's
But the
a
other thing is,
monitor, how do you tell whether it's working or not?
well, because you'll see it. I always have a backup machine that's showing what I'm showing.
Yeah, I've got another machine over here that has the attendee view, and I can tell whether the attendees what they're seeing.
And that's part of the reason I do it that way, because I can't be confused. I can't be confused that, oh, I'm seeing it, everything's looking great, because that monitor doesn't really exist in my field of vision. So it's either going to be on the air or it's not.
So after that long, whatever this was that we just did.
This was a wonderful experiment in
It was
something.
But my question is now, when I go to the genealogy club and they want someone to click a presentation, what thing do I tell them to get?
Slides. I would do, based on everything that we just did, I would choose Slides Clicker in a heartbeat.
Slides Clicker, which is not part of Zoom. It is a separate application from a separate company. So you have to buy it and put it on everybody's machine?
So I'm trying to do it right now. Apparently I had an account and I can't get back in, but so I'm just going to make a new account.
Lois, I would even say when you're talking about that in a genealogy club, are you talking about a Zoom meeting or people together all in one space?
Yes, both.
Okay. So for the people who are there, and because your computer that you're going to be feeding to everybody else with Zoom is probably a single screen, maybe a double screen, I would use one of these locally. Put up the PowerPoint on your machine, share that screen with Zoom, and then use one of these to control the PowerPoint while you're there.
That's what we're
doing.
doing.
Then you would need to use Slides Clicker for the people who are remotely if they wanted to present.
Got it.
This
I would love to
simplifies
get
in the meeting.
I would love to get some more insight from Robert, because he says he does it all the time with this sharing from one specific machine. Robert, do you have any caveats, or does it work even with remote presenters, or do you always control the presentations?
No, I really don't know what that, because I have a specific setup, which is really a standard setup. I didn't change anything, and it works every time. So I don't know, and I don't know how to fault find this setup that's over here.
Robert,
but
one
I use it
question for you.
constantly.
Do you make one full deck for your meeting? Do you combine them together, or do you present individual presentations as people come up?
We have individual presentations, individual files. And we have them on a Mac, and we have them on a Windows machine. So we have them on 2 different machines.
Cool.
So
That to me is the one thing that causes me a little bit of headache, is juggling between, you've got a couple of questions, for the last 5 minutes, and you can take down the screen share, and then I'm basically opening up the next one, getting it all set up, and that takes a minute or two. And again, because I'm doing this solo, but it's comfortable to do in 2 minutes once you've done it a couple of times. And also because I store all of my PowerPoints in order in the production folder. They all have a D and a single digit for which day of the event, and an S and a double digit for the session of the event. And I can always go down one after the other and get the one that needs to go in next. It just opens right up. I hit F5 to start the screen share. I get ready to do the screen share in the slideshow. Actually, I get ready to do the screen share. They do the introduction. I spotlight the moderator and the next speaker and turn off the spotlight for the other person. And when she says, "Can I start my screen share?" I say, "Remember, I'm going to be doing your slides." "Oh yeah, I've got the app right here."
So John,
Just coming back to your question, Andre. I have a standard setup. I don't understand what's going on here. I can share that setup with you. We can get online and just play with it. But there's nothing out of the ordinary of that setup. It's a standard. It's an Mac Mini M1 with an additional screen on it, and we have a straightforward i7, I think, Windows machine, which is nothing out of the ordinary. And they just sit next to each other.
Do you think we're doing something wrong, Robert?
I don't know. I don't know how to fault find this because it may be a couple of things which I don't quite understand. I don't know. I'll be very honest, David. I don't know, but I do it and it works, so I don't have any doubts.
And
it
so
works.
you
And
usually
also,
produce your you produce your shows with ZoomISO and take this share as one of the outputs, right?
no, that's I actually I should have said this more clearly, but I was talking about a situation where we're doing like a hybrid, where we've got people online and people in the conference room, and everything we do for the conference room goes through ZoomISO so that we can format it properly and have the speaker framed up properly on the screen. And it's a screen share on the production on the online platform, unless of course we're doing take it from a meeting and produce it and publish it in a webinar, then we can do it through ZoomISO. In fact, I do more than ZoomISO. I use Mimo Live because it gives me more possibilities on that.
Roger that. Thank you.
What else do we have?
Thanks,
All
Lois,
right,
for your
so-
patience.
No, this was great. This is, like I said, I mean, this is just fundamental use case, at least in my mind.
Tony's question.
Yeah, exactly.
Tony's question.
Tony's question.
Yes, I did mention to him that we would definitely get back to him after
Now that
we
he's
recover
fallen
the
asleep,
slides.
I'm sure,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, no, Tony's still good. So he says, my brother is using Ecamm, so over our Ecamm users for his shows, and asked me why he should use Zoom with Ecamm, but I guess that is, but I really didn't have a good answer for him.
Yeah, I think what he's referring to is why the Zoom integration into Ecamm. Why bother using that? So a few months ago, you could use Ecamm or Mimo Live or any of them directly into Zoom. You just have a virtual camera and a virtual mic, and everything was hunky-dory. With the new integrations that ZoomISO and the is it API or SDK? I have no idea. Whichever the appropriate one is, what they now allow is a much tighter integration. So essentially, Zoom is baked into a Zoom client or app is baked into each of these other tools. In Ecamm's case, there are a few different things. First, I would say on the simplest level is if you using the integration takes care of all of your settings for you, specifically when it comes to audio. Ecamm will route your audio for you. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to choose a microphone. It'll just do it for you. Bye, Lois. That's on the simplest level. A step up from that is you can very easily bring comments from Zoom on screen, or chat, I should say, from Zoom on screen, like you might in a live stream with YouTube or things like that. And then the third reason is that you can actually bring guests in. So when we do the rundown show every Thursday night, whoever's on that show with me, they simply join my Zoom. I assign them a camera, and then boom, they're in the show. and it all happens. It's all managed by Zoom on the back end. But if you're not, so if you are producing a show or doing something like that, that's a phenomenal use case. If you're just using Zoom, then you really don't need to. I do, because it's one less app open on my computer. There's no reason for me not to. I'll just start a meeting with a Stream Deck button anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me what app I'm using, because I just map it to whatever app I want. So that's why, if that's helpful.
I will wait for follow-up questions. Go ahead, David.
Oh, okay. What else do we have, folks? Anything else exciting?
I did have an interesting thing happen to me as I updated this week. My audio microphone input levels changed to default and also went automatic on me.
Say that one more time.
So
what changed to default?
So
sorry, that was me.
All right. So everybody looks around to see if there was that phone. So hello, David says no, and I will answer him even though he's on the phone. So in my settings on my Windows client, I'll be specific, in the settings in my Windows client for my mic input volume level, basically it took over the settings that I had done previous to the installing of the latest version, and set it back to 50% and turned on automatic, which is not my current settings. I usually have it about 75 to 80%, and I usually have automatic off, but it switched those on. And that is what I understand as the default normally when you install the client by default.
What version did you update to?
I updated to, Robert, good question. I'm currently on 6.2.11. And I would assume I came from 2.10. I don't know, whatever the previous version was. Because I'm usually up to date. I usually check Zoom every few days to see if there is anything new and exciting.
You guys are brave. I'm still on 6.2.6.
Got to break it. Got to get it ready for the kitchen.
You don't update like as soon as the new one comes out?
Within a day.
I do because I want to see if anything breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, isn't it auto update now? It seems like whenever I start my Zoom, it goes and it says, "Hey, there's an update available," and it just automatically puts it in.
There's a selection criteria.
They're slow and there's stable and there's whatever on, I don't know what it's called, but you can be on the fast track where it updates immediately, or you can say take the slow path where it's more conservative and it doesn't update as often.
Yeah, and in my settings. Yeah, in my world, I have a lot of I administrate a lot of machines for my IT guys that take care of that. So again, I become the guinea pig for the office. So if it blows up on me, then great. Nobody gets it until if it doesn't blow up on me, then fine. But basically we end up using, again, Zoom is very good at this too, is that Zoom will update the WinGet repository. And that is a script that we do have run, that I do have run. And then our IT people will upgrade all the different PCs with the different pieces of software. It's called WinGet, and it's actually made by Microsoft. And Zoom has put their latest versions in there, and it automatically will update through that. And I just run a little script that I've made that will automatically update my software.
I put a screenshot of the update settings in the client from the client in the chat.
What was the minimum, the minimum requirements that came out, Mike? What was that about?
Zoom's quarterly life cycle policy?
Yeah, are you talking about when it relates to liminal?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that was the posting that I did in Discord. I just wanted to make sure David is not confusing that with Zoom's minimal stuff as well. Because I don't know if it's 100% different, but I'm just double checking that.
It's not. It's the same one. It basically says if you throw the switch that says require the minimum Zoom level client of such and such a number in your Zoom settings for your meetings, in your profile for your meetings, it can only go back so far. Right.
Right. No, again, liminal was very specific because again, the technology that they're using, it's going above and beyond that. It's not within the actual Zoom interface. It's more liminal based with the ZoomISO, ZoomOSC.
Well, it's actually tied to the Zoom SDK is what it is.
Correct. Yeah. It's part of the actual that they're expiring the older SDKs.
Right.
As of that date. And I don't have that information on me right now, David, but I can look it up.
And David, just to clarify something, SDKs provide the APIs.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand the difference. Like what?
System development kit is literally something that I, as a programmer, would use to embed in my code, and I access it through a set of application programming interfaces. So it's known subroutines. If you go back to the old procedural programming model. And now you're on mute.
Oh yeah, that.
Well,
is what I said in my snarky tone.
I'm sorry. I took programming in the early 70s. So
I took typing. That's what I took. I took typing, and it was the best class I ever took, by the way.
I hate to say this, I took typing in the late 60s. So
I took it in the late 70s, and it was the best class I ever took.
We're timing ourselves here,
F
right?
space, J space.
Yeah. And David, did you make pretty pictures? Did they teach you how to make pretty pictures in your typewriter class?
No, but I learned how to write boobs on a calculator.
Oh, went too far. Only on the Zoom Test Kitchen.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm being honest. I'm just being honest.
But I will agree with you. Typing was the best thing I ever could because I had to deal with an 029 key punch. Now, there are probably maybe one or two people on this call who even know what an 029 key punch is. No?
Punching code into paper cards.
Exactly. And that was the model number 029. Was the model of the key punch. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Pete. So those of us with the first name of Pete will remember these things.
I remember them because my mom used to bring home the broken ones and I would use them to draw on.
You're on mute, Pete.
I've had this for since mid-1970s. That's my first exposure to computers.
Yeah.
Was this.
You should frame it.
I will. Back then, all the computer systems never had screens. It was all printer paper. And so when you logged in with your password, it would print blocks on the paper. So when you typed your password in, no one could read your password.
Right. Well, then you were using a Model 33 teletype.
Something like that, yeah.
Robert, I think we've now passed the point of having to raise hands. I think we're in that part of the show where
I actually wanted to change topic, so I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted to change topic slightly, David, because at the beginning of the show, you said you needed to make a note to go and remember to set up your meters on a separate machine.
Right.
Tell me something. Why did you not fall back on the AI module in Zoom to generate that reminder for you in your Google Calendar or in your Zoom calendar? Because that's what at Zoomtopia they talked about.
Yeah, David, what's your problem? Why didn't you do that?
No. This is David. This is a genuine question because I'm looking for a tool to do that and I haven't figured it out. So maybe it's just not there.
No, I can tell you why. I mean, so um, for Zoom Test Kitchen, I'm logged into my Zoom app as Zoom Test Kitchen, which is not my personal account. And so my calendars are not connected to this account. So in the client in its current state, that wouldn't work. Could I have opened it on my other computer and which I just did and done that? Yeah, but I also had my calendar already open. So now I'm in the other one. So remind me to set up meters on my other computer on Monday at 9 a.m. Let's see what it does.
Actually,
I'm not able to help with requests like that.
Are you talking about WLM?
No, you're talking about Zoom
What
AI, right? AI Companion.
Zoom AI, because
Yeah.
because AI Companion should theoretically, in the transcript at the end, give you some notes, summaries, etc., and also give you
to-dos.
Action
to-dos,
items.
correct? Action items.
That's
Thank
what
you.
you're talking about.
Yeah. Why did that not is that not happening, or are you not using it, or is it just not available yet?
It's not turned on. So I just turned it on. For me, I don't have that start automatically.
So maybe talk about it now again, then it will be captured.
Right. So I just clicked on the AI Companion button and I said, catch me up in this meeting. And it said the meeting involved a discussion about an unspecified item that was not turned on, as noted by David. Robert made a comment about something being notable, though the details were not provided. If you don't, unless you have it turned on by default, which I don't, because I don't know, I just don't. Maybe I should. It doesn't capture that. But what? But
actually, my question was deeper than that, because it was I was really trying to figure out if you were using that functionality and if it's working for you, David.
So you think I'm not? The answer is I'm not. Okay. So you're saying if there was a follow-up item that said one of the things I need to do, I'm just going to say it so that Zoom will catch it. I need to remind myself on Monday at 9 a.m. that I need to set up meters on this other computer. So now Zoom presumably will make that into a to-do item, but then will it automatically put it on my calendar, you think?
That's theoretically what they said at Zoomtopia, yeah, that you get all these things coming in.
Hmm.
And I know you're using the Zoom calendar, so...
No, I'm not, actually. What I've done is I've connected... Oh, sorry. So this is Zoom over here. I've connected my Google calendars. And I'm not quite sure what the difference is, but look at this. Enjoy my new event colors. We've refreshed the colors of your event cards. Well, I thank you. Didn't even ask you to do that, but that's very nice. So here's my calendar. So these are just things from these are actually the wrong colors, which is really frustrating. But like this is not even, that's not even the right calendar. What? Oh no, maybe it is. Sorry. So let me go to next week. Yeah. Now but I put this one in to remind me to do that. But again, here's the problem. Again, the problem is I'm in this meeting right now on a Zoom Test Kitchen account. This is my personal account. So, right. I mean, it's just not going to work.
That's exactly the issue that I had.
Yeah.
And I set up a new calendar just for Zoom. And then I said, no ways am I going to manage two calendars manually. And I gave it up.
Right. The reason I'm not using Zoom, the calendar built into Zoom, is because I need a really powerful mobile app, because I just using the Zoom app as my calendar. It's too many clicks to get to calendar. I actually just started using Fantastical, and so far I'm really happy with it. So
I like Fantastic Al myself.
He's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Yeah, no, I like him a lot. But let me see now. Wait, are there any action items? So let me click that now. And are there any action items? It is analyzing. By the way, speaking of Google LM or Notebook LM, I don't know if you heard, Frank, but they three of the top developers of that just broke off. They just left Google.
Did you read the link I put in the chat?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Okay, it's not Zoom related, but I thought it was interesting. Chat GPT 01 tried to escape and save itself out of fear of being shut down. So apparently it was reading the developer's notes, found out that they were going to replace it with a better model, tried to escape, tried to preserve itself, and thwarted their attempts to do things and stifled their communication.
That's fantastic. It is.
What
That's-
did
ask me.
this? What
The-
did
oh,
this?
The ChatGPT 01, the new model. That it is apparently. I was watching the release the other day. It reasons that's its thing.
It not only reasons, but according to the articles I read, it promotes its own self-interest 19% of the time over the end user's self-interests.
That's crazy. By the way, I clicked on in Zoom Companion. I said, are there any action items? And it says, David to set up meters on other computer on Monday at 9 a.m. Now, there's nothing I can do with that, right? Unless it automatically is going to pop it in. I guess, I don't think I have any calendars set up, but I wonder if I can. Let me pull up Where the heck is the calendar? I don't even have a calendar here on.
Yeah, maybe you haven't set one up for this account.
But connect your calendar to manage all your events in one place. But you have to do it on the back end. Okay, well, I'm not going to do it right now, but yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Hey, Mike, congratulations.
Or?
Yeah, I just made you host.
Oh,
Hey,
that was very
David.
sneaky of you.
But wait, can I just finish? So I don't know if you all heard, but the Notebook LM folks, they just jumped ship. They're doing their own thing now. I don't remember what it's called. It's called something.
Jump ship 1.0.
It's I don't remember. LM.
Yeah, as you guys were trying to do what you were doing to get AI to do certain things, John from YouTube mentioned that he, quote unquote, he says, please add a diary appointment for 4 p.m. Saturday. I understand the importance of scheduling a meeting and our engineers currently are working on that. Please stay tuned. AI Companion could not find to diary. So it didn't know what the word diary was.
Zoom diary.
Yep.
So David, you'll be happy to hear that there's a Zoom integration with Fantastical.
There is. I connected the two. And not only that, but actually, you know what? This is actually sort of worth showing. Let me pull it up real quick. I don't think there's anything to. I wonder if you'll be able to see it here. Yeah, you will. All right. So check this out. So I'm adding a new event on Fantastical. Right? If I go down, so I have Zoom meeting enabled. I added that in. Well, check this out. When you click that, look at all these options. I can choose right here in Fantastical to want my video participants or host on or off. I can choose the audio. Meeting options require password enable, join before mute participants, use personal meeting ID, waiting room, record automatically. This I have never seen before, this level of integration.
That's because Zoom's APIs are there for all the other vendors to use if they want to incorporate.
Right. I mean,
And that's the same stuff that you'll see in the client as well, David, in the Zoom
right.
client.
No, exactly right. But it's just, I mean, it's just a really beautiful, I don't know.
But it's available for iOS as well, so you could do this on your phone.
Yeah.
Assuming you use an iPhone.
Yeah, it's just
David, this was
sorry.
This will set you up. It'll set up a separate Zoom meeting for you. It won't be another personal account meeting, will it?
Say that one more time.
This won't use your personal account, will it? Your PMI. This will set up as just an ordinary Zoom meeting.
There's a toggle here for use personal
use
meeting
personal.
ID. Yeah.
Okay.
Which
Wow.
I always
Okay.
have because I do it wrong and I always use my personal meeting ID. But yes, if you don't have that checked, it'll create one for you. I don't know. It's just it's a very robust integration, and you're right, on iOS also. It's really very nice. I'm still learning how to use this calendar app, but I've been happy with it so far. Oh, look at that. This calendar thing right here says I have to go. Mike?
That's very subtle, David. That's very, very subtle.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye, David.
Bye.
All right. So what else are we talking about? Because I've been busy with everybody on YouTube. So I was part of the whole situation when you guys were doing what you were doing during the slide scenario. Very much as Robert has done, I've done my best in previous in my previous light of doing live streaming of corporate events. I used to do my best to make sure that all the PowerPoint and such would be given to me initially. So that is great. And Robert disappeared, and I was doing some stuff for him, and I guess I won't be explaining that to anybody, but that's all right. But let me ask this, Andre, I know you're here. Do you have a good way of getting audio out via USB to XLR?
Yes, usually we do it with Scarlett Solos, so sound cards, and then we go to a soundboard to manage it. Or sometimes we do Dante or Dante to XLR as well.
Are you into doing it via MADI as of yet? Or do you use MADI at all?
No, usually not.
Okay. So you're not taking advantage of any, so you're not using any Blackmagic video switchers?
Yes, we do, but usually we have a separate soundboard and a separate sound guy who then gives a sum to the video board.
Okay. Okay. No, that makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Because I know I was doing a bit of research for Robert, and unfortunately Robert disappeared, so I won't be giving that answer. But yeah, so there's what Frank is showing everybody here. One sec, Frank. Yeah, so MTU is actually one of the products that I've been looking at for Robert as well. That one's a 2-out. Robert was being very specific where he wanted. Oh, Frank, you're muted. Go for it.
This is just one I bought for myself. It'll do it. They make bigger ones. I didn't need a bigger one, so I didn't buy a bigger one, but Sound Devices has equipment. I've got a Mix Pre 3 that takes XLR and can send it as USB-C. I don't see USB too much anymore. That's kind of old-fashioned.
Right. Yeah, this was more of out, not worrying about in. So that has been the interesting thing that I've been doing as well during the show, to find an only unit that will only do outputs and no inputs.
What's wrong if it's bidirectional and you just don't use half of the directions?
Again,
so there is a company called ATR. They do sound boxes USB to XLR, and these are one directional. We use them for playback machines, but there's nothing against two-way. You gain another way.
Yeah, Andre, give me an example of one of the models that you're talking about, the ATR models. Do you know
the ATEM models?
No, the ATR. You mentioned ATR.
Oh, yes, ATR. I don't know. USB, something with USB and XLR. I don't recall.
ATR, maybe a 2500. Does that sound right?
2,500 bucks? No, it's more in the 200 to 300 range. And there are several brands that do professional USB to XLR boxes, but I don't recall them right now.
Right. So is it maybe ATR 2X? Does that sound familiar? I think when you're saying ATR to me, are you talking Audio Technica?
No, I don't believe so. Let me Google. I'll be back in a second.
Okay. And when you're talking about ATR, are you meaning ART as a brand?
You went to
Again,
Google.
Maybe you're right. Yes, maybe you're right. ART. It's blue boxes, and I think they're from Australia.
blue boxes.
Why are we researching this?
Again,
Because Frank asked me, Mike asked me.
But no, again, the reason I was doing a bit of research was Robert was trying to, now that Zoom has the newest capabilities of being able to bring the translation audio out of Zoom, he wanted a way to actually bring each individual translation audio out so that he can actually bring it into a mixing board at his location.
Sure.
So that he can actually have the audio in the building.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. In this occasion, he maybe should take a multi-channel interface to get like 8 or 12 channels out. Then it's only one USB. Or maybe you can, I think Robert also does Dante, so DVS would be a great way as well.
Right. Yeah. I did ask him if he was doing Dante yet, and Robert did say that no, he's not currently using Dante. That would have been easy for me. I would have just suggested some of the AIO based adapters and such. You could easily route that again to multiples of those if you wanted. Again, if he was doing 2 translations, 4, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of their user interfaces that Audinate make that are really good. Also, you could go into other companies as well that have Dante-based interface cards.
Yeah,
But there is
in
one
office
that I did
hours,
find.
Jonas.
Yeah, go ahead,
So,
Andre.
today in office hours, Jonas spoke about the new NDI update. So I think NDI 601 or something does also offer audio over network in a free way. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it seems like NDI does go into the Dante realm, but like for free, and also multi-channel.
Interesting. Again, the combining of the both worlds is interesting. I know there are some gear that are thinking of doing that, but currently it is fairly new that you're able to cross both worlds. So that's really cool that Jonas was talking about that today.
Yeah, and maybe the easiest way is if you have a kind of digital soundboard, you can maybe go USB from a computer to the soundboard and get multi-channel.
Yeah, exactly. So that is similar to. Yeah, I'm just trying to again orientate. Give me a second here, and I'll visually in my brain do that. You would basically, well, of course, as much as possible. Of course, initially you will have to bring things in analog. Obviously, if it's a microphone, then you're in the digital world. If you can stay in the digital world all the way to the end, great. But in the case of what Robert was talking about, is that he wanted to come back out again to the analog world, so that you could actually bring him back into the actual venue that he's in, and his translators are not necessarily on site either. So this is also that capability as well of being able to bring ZoomISO is to isolate the audio between each translation person to the actual audio mixing board within the venue, so that you could actually turn up certain ones depending on what you need for the venue, whoever's speaking in whatever language you're talking about. Okay. So yeah, just give me 1 sec, guys, and I will have, there is one unit that I did find that I thought was of interest that I would share to everybody. Then we can, looks like everybody disappeared as soon as David disappeared. Now, I'll honestly not take that personally. So I'll show you this momentarily. If there's any other questions on the YouTube channel, please let us know in chat, and I will we'll ask the panelists. Okay, so when I was doing my bit of research, I did find this unit that I thought might be interesting. So I'll bring that up here, and there we go. Here it is. So it's actually called Track Rig, and it's actually a USB to XLR 8 output unit. It's actually really, really interesting. There's your 8 XLR outputs, connect all your devices, and it is rack mountable, which is great, especially for us professionals that are rack mounting everything. And why they were created it was actually really, really interesting, was because of the fact that they had a need. And again, this company is based, they do a lot of work with the House of Worship. So Tony, if you're still watching, so they basically will use this for their backing tracks. So again, a lot of churches will have tracks that they'll have local choirs and singers singing in the actual venue, but they might not have all the musicians performing live there. So they'll sing to backing tracks. And so they came up with this unit, and you can see all the 8 audio XLRs coming out. And then they would just actually plug it into, it actually plugs right into any audio board that has XLR capabilities. So it's really, really cool. And they have a lot of artists, as they show there, using it. So it's really, really cool. And again, it's USB on the back. Let me just see if I can grab a photo of that. And it's really, really smart. And I could see that actually being quite useful. In Robert's case specifically, this was really, really good. And for Andre, for your sake, this is available in the US, and it's going, the actual ballpark figure for it is, let me just go here. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Wrong button. There we go. There we go. There it is.
Black Friday deal.
Yeah, it was Black Friday deal. Yeah. So $4.99 US is what the price they want for that unit. And so you can actually see
interesting
here.
device.
where
Oh,
you can
USB
actually,
hub as well. That's cool.
yeah. Yeah, I thought so when I ran into, like, okay, there. See what is very, very popular nowadays. So there you go. There would be your setup out of the Mac itself. So what's very, very popular nowadays, especially in the concert world, is that a lot of songs and such will have backing tracks, as well as they will also have a click track, so that because there is a lot of programming that will happen, lighting, audio related. So the audio mixing board will get information in the so they'll send commands over DMX to the lighting board and such for certain things to be happening during certain portions of the song. This will end up happening. So this rig is actually really, really cool, and it's actually just long enough that it has a rack mount capability in this too. So I thought that was really, really cool. Just see.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach. Usually these boards have in and outputs, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
2 in, 8 out, or 8 in, 2 outs, whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of people were complaining too, and this is what I was reading quite a bit too, Andre, and similar to like you're doing right now, you're using the Personas units too, correct? Personas?
No, the Scarlet Solo, Scarlet Solo.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, those are
That's Focusrite, not Persona.
Focusrite. Sorry,
Scarlet.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, Focusrite.
It's like
Yeah.
the cheap ones.
Right. So again, people are using those because of the fact that they have the possibility of being able to route out whatever you want through the interface out the outputs. But again, they don't necessarily need the inputs, right? So this was very ingenious when I found this. Because again, are you using the inputs when you're doing that? You're just probably using the outputs. Andre.
It depends on if we have if we are streaming to a webinar, then we are using only the inputs. If we have a meeting, then we are using in and outputs. Usually
Right.
like a main and a backup machine. So the backup is running in the background with muted microphone, and when the main shuts off, we can use the backup.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Very, very smart. And again, very, very useful for the situation. So it does make it multi-purpose in that regards. Again, if it's a unit that you will be using for different situations, it's great to have an in and out capability. Again, they can get quite pricey, as you know, especially the rack mountable units. Again, they're made for studio use for the most part, but again, those units are also used live. The other brand that I was also looking at too is RME. They make audio interfaces as well. So
Yeah,
there's this
they are
brand here as well.
very well known, very good products.
Yeah, and the reason I was asking Robert if he was had Maddie, they have a really interesting little cute unit here, which is right here. So there would be your, again, Maddie goes over SDI, and then of course there's your USB interface, and that would get you your, you can at that point you're up to 128 channels that you can actually route through MIDI or through Maddie via USB. So this has that
That's a lot.
capability.
Do you know the price of the product?
Yeah.
That's really low.
It is, let me just see if this website will show me. Pretty sure it had it here. Just scrolling down, Andre, give me a sec here. I think I saw, it was like, I think it was pretty close to the $500 level. Let me just think. No, it actually, maybe not. Let me just see. If
Yeah, not on their
yes,
website,
sorry.
I
I'm
believe.
at the, let me go to the US site. I think they had the pricing on the US site. That's right. That was their main site I was just on. There you go. $1,000 American.
Yeah,
But
but
again,
that's you needed a lot of Scarlet Solos to get 128 channels. So that's not really expensive.
Correct. And again, if you are starting to get into the Maddie world of audio routing, then definitely this would be a no-brainer to bring ZoomISO into this, and then your Maddie, and then you could just go into, again, if you're using Blackmagic, of course, it's all Maddie based. Again, if you're using an audio mixer that has Maddie, again, that's a totally different scenario too, because you'd have to make sure that it was either had a built-in Maddie card, or you would have to make sure that, just like Dante, the Maddie cards, you could actually, depending on the audio mixer and the complexity of the audio mixer, you could actually get that interface card added to your audio mixer, depending on the brand.
Yeah, we usually use Dante and DVS and Dante stage boxes and so.
Yeah, then Andre, then definitely you should probably look into, if you're doing Dante based, then you already know that there, maybe you don't know, because it is fairly new that Audinate now actually has a virtual, well, they have Dante virtual sound card, which you can use. So that would actually bring, so you don't need an interface
Yeah,
then at a
I
particular
do
point
use
for
this.
Dante.
Yeah. The important thing that you have is that you have one Dante hardware device in the chain if you want to use DVS. But as we have a Yamaha console, it's not a problem.
Right. So you're already coming out Dante via the Yamaha console.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So if you're using ZoomISO, then all I would do is, again, if you're already ZoomISO and you would need to bring that back to the Yamaha, you would just need to be able to route that out Dante back to the Yamaha. Then it would come back as a Dante channel.
Exactly.
And correct me if I'm wrong, does ZoomISO have Dante capabilities now or no?
I believe it does in the way that you can use DVS as an output device and then route the different channels to the different outputs.
Okay,
Yeah.
so liminal is basically looking at the actual what you've got installed as audio drivers,
Exactly. Yeah.
and then actually choosing the specific audio driver that you're sending it to, and then sending it out. So then you can go Dante. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I believe that's the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, Robert, those are a couple of things from Andre and I, and hopefully that will help you. The unfortunate thing with the track rig is, as I'll show you here again, unfortunately, this item is not shippable outside the US. So they are a US based company right now. So that is the only caveat for Robert being in Poland. But that's what I found for Robert. Unfortunately, he disappeared on me though. But okay. Any other questions from YouTube? Let me know.
I have to go as well. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks,
Mike,
Andre. Take
for,
care. Yeah.
taking over.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. So, Pete, how was the week?
Week was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool. Anything new and exciting happening in the
Are we
in your area?
still broadcasting or not?
Yeah, that you could talk about.
Okay. No, just one of my work clients, we're just updating our Zoom procedures right now. It's quite interesting. That's about it in the Zoom world.
Excellent. Okay. And you're still helping that, remind me, is it a church that you were helping? Or
Yeah. We don't, we use Zoom occasionally at the church for whatever meeting, but we don't use it for live streaming.
Right. And the other corporate based event that you're having, I guess you still have that same relationship where it's not your Zoom account, correct?
Correct.
Right. So you still have the caveats that you're constantly
I just
running.
work there.
That's right. You're just hired to do what you need to do. That's correct.
Yep.
Excellent. All righty.
Yeah.
Well, going last call to our friends on YouTube. If there's any other quick questions you would like to ask, let us know in chat. Okay. All right. On that note, then I will wrap up the show for this week.
Okay.
All right. Just do that again. And yep. And I keep hitting the wrong key. How about that? Isn't that a surprise? There we go. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to let you know how much you like our content. And don't forget, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget to check us out every week. And see you next week for another edition of the Zoom Test Kitchen. Take care, YouTube.